Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting into a topic that, well, it's definitely moved out of the shadows, hasn't it? Unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs. For so long, everyone just asked, are they real? But maybe we're past that point now.
I think the conversation has shifted, yeah.
So the real question for this deep dive might be, okay, if they are real, what are they actually doing here? And maybe even more provocative, could they be doing exactly what we might do if we had really advanced motion-based tech?
That's the interesting angle. And look, it's a serious question now, based on actual data, not just fuzzy photos.
Right.
I mean, you've got the U.S. Department of Defense setting up AARO, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. They're tasked specifically with studying UAPs.
Yeah, that's huge.
And then there was that 2021 report from the Director of National Intelligence. It looked at 144 UAP sightings.
Yep.
And get this, 80 of them, 80, had confirmation from multiple sensors.
80, wow, multiple sensors.
Yeah. Exactly. The radars, infrared, different systems, all picking up the same unexplained thing. Even NASA's independent study team, they've acknowledged that some sightings just aren't anomalies. They can't be explained with current knowledge. They're saying it warrants real scientific study.
So we don't need, a spaceship in a hangar to say, okay, let's take this seriously.
Not at all.
Yeah.
We've got enough compelling, verifiable data points to ask these deeper questions.
Okay, so that brings us to this idea we came across, something we're calling motion theory. It's a really different way to look at the universe. Instead of thinking about it just as particles bumping into each other or forces pushing things around, what if it's all fundamentally structured motion? Like everything is vibration and rhythm.
Okay, I'm following.
And if you look at it through that lens, these UAPs, maybe they aren't, little green men taking a Sunday drive. Maybe there's something else entirely.
Like what?
Like unmanned, autonomous probes. Probes designed specifically to scan and map motion. We're calling them motion scouts for this discussion.
Motion scouts.
Oh.
Okay, so unmanned probes analyzing motion itself.
Yeah, exploring what they might be doing, what that implies. But first, maybe we should unpack motion theory a bit more. What does structured motion actually mean in this context?
That's definitely the place to start. So imagine the universe isn't just empty space with stuff in it. Imagine the space itself has a structure, like underlying patterns or vibrations, a fundamental rhythm.
Like a cosmic dance?
Sort of, yeah. Structured motion theory suggests everything is made of these patterns. So movement isn't about pushing through space, like a rocket burning fuel.
Okay.
A motion scout, if this theory holds, wouldn't push. It would.
Well,
It would interact directly with these underlying motion patterns, manipulate them.
so it's not force. It's more like tuning into a frequency or synchronization.
Precisely. Synchronization is a great word for it. Think about synchronization density areas where these universal rhythms are concentrated or varied. A motion scout wouldn't need to, burn tons of energy to accelerate. It would, in theory, reconfigure its own internal motion state to sort of step between different local motion patterns, like changing channels, or maybe like applying a patch to a universal operating system made of motion.
And to us, looking through our lens of, rockets and jets.
To us, it would look impossible. Instant acceleration, vanishing. Because we're trying to understand with concepts like force and inertia, not motion and resonance.
Okay, that distinction feels really important because if you do assume they operate on this motion theory framework, suddenly those UAP reports, the really baffling ones, they start to sound a bit different.
How so?
Well, no visible propulsion systems, right? Hypersonic speeds without sonic booms, making right-angle turns that would crush any pilot, stopping on a dime. Those erratic flight paths.
Exactly. If they're not pushing, they wouldn't need visible engines or produce heat trails like our craft do.
Makes sense.
Instant acceleration isn't about overcoming inertia with brute force. It's a shift in their synchronization state, a direct change in motion, and those erratic movements. Maybe they're not erratic at all. Maybe it's a highly efficient scanning pattern. If you're trying to map complex motion fields like our planet's electromagnetic grid, or maybe even the biosignatures of ecosystems, the collective neural activity.
Whoa. So they're mapping motion signatures.
Potentially. They could be gathering data on our planet's complex motion profile.
Okay, that puts a totally different spin on why they might show up near, say, military bases or nuclear facilities. We usually think, oh, they're spying or it's a threat.
Right. We interpret it through our own context of security and conflict.
But if they're motion scouts,
then those locations are fascinating for a different reason. Think about the motion there. Military bases have intense, unique electromagnetic signatures, complex machinery movement, highly organized human patterns, nuclear sites. They radiate enormous amounts of energy that's concentrated motion output.
So they're data hotspots for emotion scanning intelligence.
Exactly. Prime locations to observe and catalog the motion signatures of a, well, technologically active civilization like ours.
It's a fascinating thought exercise. I mean, think about how we explore when we want to check out Mars or look at distant galaxies.
We send probes, rovers, telescopes.
Right. We don't send people first, usually, especially not on incredibly long, dangerous trips just to, like, scoop up some rocks initially. We send sophisticated, autonomous, unmanned systems.
Like the Mars rovers, the James Webb Space Telescope, soon, maybe interstellar probes, designed to analyze environments remotely.
So the parallel is, if another intelligence got there first, mastered this motion tech.
It's logical they might do the same thing, wouldn't you say? Send autonomous motion scouts first. They wouldn't necessarily be looking for life in the way we think about it, little green man or whatever.
They'd be looking for complex patterns.
Complex, evolving patterns of structured motion and energy. Things that signal intelligence or significant technological development.
Right.
And they wouldn't necessarily try to talk to us.
Why not?
Well, are we trying to talk to the ants when we map their colony with a drone? Maybe not. From their perspective, they might just be observing, cataloging, gathering motion data.
Wow. Okay, this really does flip the perspective. So let's assume for a minute this motion theory has some legs, and UAPs could be these motion scouts. What does that actually mean for us, for humanity?
Well, the implications are pretty profound, I think.
Yeah.
But maybe not scary, not in the invasion sense. It's more like a cosmic nudge, a prompt to level up.
Level up how?
It suggests, first off, that intelligence can survive long enough to get really advanced, to figure out not just technology, but the fundamental nature of motion itself and how to work with it.
That's actually kind of hopeful.
I think so. It also hints that maybe autonomy and advanced AI, they aren't necessarily the doom scenarios we've sometimes imagined. They could be a natural, maybe even inevitable step in the evolution of intelligence everywhere.
So it's like seeing a possible future, a potential roadmap.
Exactly. It's a powerful hint that maybe we need to upgrade our science. Look beyond just particles and forces as the only explanation for everything.
And develop different technologies.
Potentially, yes. Move beyond purely force-based propulsion, explore motion synchronization, and maybe build our own motion scouts to explore the universe in a completely different way.
That's a really powerful idea to wrap up on. If we start thinking about the universe differently, not just stuff moving around, but as this vast system of structured, navigable motion, maybe we don't just figure out UAPs.
Maybe we figure out how to join them.
Yeah, build the tools to join the dance of motion that they maybe already know how to lead. It's all still very much, up in the air.
Literally.
But perhaps that's exactly where we need to be looking, up there, to see a reflection of ourselves just starting out learning to move.